Hello and welcome. You ever wonder how a huge company seems to know exactly what you want to buy? Or how they make these massive, risky decisions that just pay off? Well, it's not magic, it's technology. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how modern businesses turn this absolute flood of data into brilliant, game-changing decisions.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it really all boils down to this one question. Businesses are practically swimming in numbers, right? Transactions, customer feedback, you name it. But how do they find the signal in all that noise? How do they turn total chaos into a clear path forward? Well, that's exactly what we're here to break down. So, before we can even get into all the fancy systems and AI, we have to start at the very, very beginning. The most fundamental concept in this whole thing is turning raw data into something genuinely useful, information. And trust me, they are not the same thing. That difference, it's everything.
Okay, here's a great way to think about it. Imagine data is just a pile of ingredients on your kitchen counter. Flour, eggs, sugar. On their own, they're not much good for anything, right? But when you process them, mix them, bake them, you get a cake. That finished cake, that is information. It has meaning, it has structure, and you can actually do something with it.
So take a look at this. This is what raw data actually looks like out in the wild. It's just a table of employee test scores, a total jumble of numbers. Just looking at it, can you spot a trend? Can you tell who needs help or who's acing it? It's pretty much impossible. Right now, it's just noise.
And boom, this is the magic right here. This is that same exact data, but now it's been organized into a simple chart. And instantly, a clear pattern just pops out. We can see right away that most people scored in the 30 to 39 range. Now this is information. And with this, you can finally make a smart decision, like maybe offering some extra training.
But, not all information is created equal. To be truly valuable, it has to be high quality. Think of it like a checklist. Good info has to be accurate and complete, obviously. It's got to be relevant and timely. Old news doesn't help anyone. And critically, it has to be understandable and easy to use. If it fails on any of these points, even the best system in the world is going to lead to some bad decisions.
Okay, so we get it. We need to turn data into good information. But how does that actually happen inside a big company? Well, businesses build what you could call information factories. These are specialized systems designed to get exactly the right kind of information to the right people at exactly the right time.
You've probably seen this before. A typical company is kind of structured like a pyramid. Down at the bottom, you've got the operational level, the folks handling the day-to-day tasks. In the middle, you have tactical managers making short-term plans. And way up at the top, strategic leaders are setting the long-term vision. The key thing to realize is that each of these levels needs a completely different kind of information.
So let's start at the base of that pyramid, with the people who are really on the front lines running the day-to-day operations.
This is where the Transaction Processing System, or TPS, lives. This thing is the workhorse. Its job is to record every single transaction, every sale, every purchase, everything. Just think about the scanner at a bookstore checkout. That's the TPS right there, logging each book sold so the manager knows exactly when to reorder.
All right, let's move up a level. Let's see what happens to all that data when it gets to the managers who need to see a slightly bigger picture to make their weekly or monthly plans.
They use what's called a Management Information System, or an MIS. Now, the MIS is clever. It takes all that super detailed data from the TPS and boils it down into useful reports. So, for example, a manager at a car dealership doesn't see a list of thousands of individual sales. Instead, they get a neat report showing which car model is selling best or which salesperson is their top performer this month.
And finally, let's head to the very top, to the executives, the people steering the ship and making those huge, long-term decisions that will define the company's entire future.
These leaders rely on an Executive Information System, or EIS. This system gives them that 30,000-foot bird's-eye view of everything. It doesn't just summarize their own company's data, it pulls in external information too, like market trends or what competitors are up to. It's all designed to help them answer the really big questions like, should we expand into a new country next year?
So those systems, the TPS, MIS, EIS, they've been the backbone of business for decades. But today, oh man, today there's a whole new set of tools that are completely supercharging what's possible, taking decision-making to a whole other level.
We're talking about three major game changers here.
First, cloud computing, which lets businesses tap into incredible computer power from anywhere. Then you've got artificial intelligence, or AI, which lets these systems actually learn and make predictions. And finally, big data, which gives us the power to analyze these enormous complex sets of information that we could never even touch before.
So what does big data actually mean? Well, it all comes down to what we call the 3 V's. First is volume. The sheer amount of data we're creating is just staggering. Then there's variety. It's not just neat rows of numbers anymore. It's social media posts, videos, sensor readings. It's messy. And finally, velocity. This data is pouring in at incredible speed, and it needs to be analyzed in real time.
But what's the payoff for wrestling with all that data? Well, check out this incredible example from UPS. By using big data analytics on all the information coming from sensors in their trucks, they were able to fine-tune their delivery routes. And the result? They cut over 1.7 million miles of driving in a single year. That's the power of turning massive data into smart decisions.
Now, once you've built this amazing, powerful information factory, you suddenly have a brand new problem. You've created an incredibly valuable asset, and you have to protect it. Suddenly, trust and security become absolutely critical.
One of the groundbreaking technologies for security is blockchain. The simplest way to think of it is like a digital record book that's shared and copied across thousands of computers. Because it's so spread out, it's incredibly difficult for any one person to cheat or change the record. Once a transaction is in there, it's permanent. This builds a ton of trust, which is vital for everything from finance to tracking products around the world.
And if you think this is all just theoretical, think again. The threats are very, very real. Back in 2018, hackers breached Marriott's reservation system. The personal information of up to 500 million customers was exposed. I mean, that's what's at stake when this information isn't properly protected. So because of threats like that, businesses have to build layers and layers of defense. To stop hackers, they use firewalls and enforce strong passwords. To fight viruses, it's all about antivirus software and constant updates. And for things like phishing attacks, where scammers try to trick employees, one of the best defenses is actually just good training. It really is a constant battle between evolving threats and stronger defenses. So, I want you to think about this for a second. Every single time you browse online, tap on an app, or buy something, you are creating raw data. And that data is flowing right into the very systems we've been talking about today. The journey from your click to a world-changing business decision is the engine that drives the modern world. The only question left is, what's the next brilliant insight going to be, and who's going to be the one to find it?